Hello and welcome along to the Season 11 review from Dorking Wanderers with me, Daniel. A massive episode after an eventful season, and we start on the profile of Stefan Moles. This is partly to avoid spoilers, but also because he is our record appearance holder. A record he broke earlier in the season, you can see now stands at 312 league appearances for Dorking. An absolute legend, an absolute hero, and unfortunately he may not be adding to that. We'll get to that in a minute as well as the rest of our review, but firstly I've started here to give you a chance. If you've missed any of the season so far, the link to episode 1 is in the eye above. Catch up with the season, see how we've got to where we are, and come back to see our plans for next season. It's going to be a big episode. We'll be talking about a couple of areas off the pitch as well, as we often do. So today it will be morale, something that's been crucial to our season this year. Our plans for a big summer ahead. Those of you that are up to date will know exactly why that is. And of course we'll also go through all the competitions and our usual plans of who we may be getting rid of this summer. Fingers crossed we'll have some news on stadiums and facilities as well. They're the unpredictable bits where we rely on the board. But please do catch up with this season because it has been an almighty special one. If you haven't already clicked that button in the eye above, you're about to get a spoiler, I'm afraid. As we head back to the home screen, we are champions of the championship. It's been a remarkable season. Not the highest point scoring one, to be honest. Our rivals closest, 84 and 80 points. Normally be looking at the high 80s to get promoted. So we have been lucky in that regard. But we have flown past the opposition and finished on 96 points. So it might have been enough as it is. But we've had some surprise stars this season, and that's probably been the most pleasing bit. And we'll go and take a look at all of those in a minute. But firstly, if you are looking forward to this end of season review as we talk about our Premier League squad plans, look at all our end of season news, and of course go through our player of the season vote as well, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It really does make such a difference. I really love these little end of season reviews and they seem to have picked up quite a good following. So thank you very much for your support with them as always. There's a link in the eye above to any of the playlists you may have missed for other content on the channel. My last live stream from the head coach, my latest season in that series too, and then my 2 Sunday series which of course had the latest episodes from yesterday, our FM20 network career against a co-host, and my stadium review series, a real footballing world talk, trying to fill the void of there not being any football at the moment. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of that content going forward, please do subscribe down below and turn the notifications on. You'll get alerts as all the daily content releases on the channel as we start doing live streams, something I'd love to do more of in the future. And fingers crossed the entertainment will stay in both series. But let's start as we always do with all the end of season awards and news. We've got 3 players who are inducted into our overall best 11, Tordoff and McLaughlin on the bench, and Grant Parsons into the lineup. So well done to those 3. Still a few of the old boys there as well. Where are the best 11 now? We're not worried about that, though good to see Archer and Whittaker both still playing. The end of season awards, Aaron White voted player of the year. Something we'll get to do later as fans, of course. Last season, I suggested someone and you completely disregarded my advice, which is part of the beauty of this. You see something different to me, you vote for something different. So I can confirm last year you guys voted for Brendan Lindsay, the centre forward, who banged in the goals for fun at championship level. I went for a more defensive minded player, of course, and he wasn't even in the first team this year, so a bit of an interesting one. And this season, there's going to be another free agent striker up there. But in terms of the season review, we remarkably won the league. I mean, I still can't work out how. I've been trying to get my head round it, but I haven't yet been able to. We had 2 quarter-finals in the Cups as well. Arsenal in the Carabao Cup and FA Cup against Chelsea. Brilliant performances, brilliant results, and unfortunately we just couldn't get past the big sides. But if we move on to next season, we've got our club vision. We have to fight bravely against relegation. We've got more youth facility improvements coming. Build a new stadium in progress. Has to happen because we can't stay at Crawley's ground. Certainly won't be good enough for this level. So we'll accept that. That's a good one for us. The squad dynamics are pretty much perfect. The end of season team meeting. Let's go and have a look. What should we say to the boys? Oh, I think we've got an alert of a bug here. Next season we'll be going all out to establish ourselves as a Vanarama national team. Think there might be a slight issue with that one, lads. But either way, let's see what we can say to the lads. We've done brilliantly to go up. I'll be bringing in some new faces to help us fight to avoid relegation. They're happy with that. That's all we can really ask for. The injury report shows that we've struggled a bit more this year. Brendan Lindsay missed nearly half the season with 5 different injuries. No massive ones, but loads of little ones. Carl Carroll went out on loan, he missed a bit of the season. Lewis James, 20%. Who else is there? Cotleo missed most of the last month and a half. And then Peter McLaughlin a month as well. Toured off 4 weeks. So yeah, not the best season for us. No massive injuries again, bar Carroll who was out on loan. But lots of repetitive ones, particularly Brendan Lindsay. The end of season squad breaks announced. They're off until July now. And what a fantastic season it's been as we continue to try and improve the backroom team. No stadium news just yet there, which is a bit of a concern. We'll come back to that as the days go on, especially as we skip ahead to our end of year competition review. But let's have a look at the squad and what our plans are for the summer. For those of you that are regulars to the end of year review, you'll know exactly how this works now. We go to the squad, we highlight all the players that we don't think will be in the first team next year and why. And then we try and build a squad around it. So this is the plan for the summer. And actually I want to talk a little bit about my transfer approach as well, because it's going to be different to any other club I've ever taken to the Premier League in FM. It's going to be an interesting one and it may well backfire, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts on it later too. But firstly, 4 of the 5 loanees are going back. Aaron White has another year on his deal. The rest of them going back. We've tried to get Baker, we can't. Zach Council's agreed a deal with Rangers and we don't really want to keep the other 2. Jonathan Mitchell will be released. Joe Thompson will probably be sold. Sean Wheatley will be loaned out, as will most of the ones below him. So James King, Adrian Bentley, Shane Bennett and George Burns. This is part of our strategy moving forward. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. We've then got 2 probable outs, and they are Stefan Moles and Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas, the first choice left back this year. Stefan Moles, the club record appearance holder. But both of them want 3 times the amount of money they're on, and they haven't earned it with their quality. Luke Thomas is no better than Lynch, who's coming back from loan, and Shane Thompson, who's a backup. He's also older. He also wants a lot more money. Stefan Moles has been hinting at wanting a new challenge. We've been able to swing him around with the chats, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be far off. So if we can get the likes of £5 million for him, when we got him on a free in League 2, you're not going to turn that down, are you? So we have to think about these things, and unfortunately it probably means the end of Stefan Moles. My one concern is that they're both team leaders, and with toured off they're the only 3 at the club. There are probably a few others who can step up, but even in the highly influential players, Lindsay's going, James is going, Mitchell's going. So we've got to be very, very careful with how we play this. I know there's a few like Walker and McLaughlin who may be able to step up. Council's going as well, he's in that list. It's going to be a big summer at the club because we could leave ourselves a little bit light. So it may be that I sell one and keep one. If we get a big offer for Thomas, we then say, Moles, you're going to stay till January regardless. Who knows how that's going to play out. We might get in a massive name, a massive leader who's already a highly influential pro. We just don't know. These things are all unpredictable, and that's the beauty of this save. We've got 5 players coming back from loan who will either be loaned out or sold again. Lynch, been okay at League 1 level, but we'll try and get him a championship move, and the rest of them will probably sell on, to be honest. Tommy Parks, big potential, but he's just not improving. And there's not much you can do if that's the case. Otherwise, we've got a fairly good pool of players down there. We've got our 3 keepers for next year. Ben Barrett coming back from Pompey, of course. They got relegated in the end. Second season syndrome for them. And aside from that, we've got a lot of good players, and most of them secured for years on lower deals. Tordoff's the only one I've got to work on, or we might have to take a big offer for him. And Cotleo again. If we get a massive offer, I'll probably take it. He's not a Premier League level striker. But they're all the things we've got to worry about. But let me talk to you a bit about my transfer policy. And you'll be able to see what I mean by it. We've got 2 players already pre-agreed, and there's about 7 others that I'm keeping my eye on. Most of them are in our scouted reports, and they're players who are out of contract at the end of this season. So if I go and show you exactly what that looks like, take off the current ones and put it down to expiring in 3 months. Just so you can see those that are out at the end of the year. There is a big selection of players here, probably 6 or 7, that are all decent enough that maybe we could put an offer in. Now, the reason I want to do this with the stadium in mind and with us going up to the Premier League, players will have higher values. So if we can get lots in for free, hopefully we can improve them, or they can go out on loan, get first team senior football. They'll then be worth 1, 2, 3, 4 million pounds. If we can do that with 7 or 8 players, we're potentially talking 15, 20 million into the club. That pays for a stadium and facilities. So it's a purely business point of view. If a couple work out really well, or they're better than we expect, or they develop well on loan, they can then become first team regulars, and it's a cheap way of doing that as well. But we're not going to be able to break the bank in a transfer market. We've not had any news about that actually so far. We have £29 million to spend, so in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. The wage budget in the grand scheme of things is very low at this level. We're going to have the lowest Premier League wage bill, we're going to have the lowest transfer budget, and we have to find a way to adapt. So that's my approach at the moment. Try and work round, try not to go too big on any deals. I'm sort of planning for the fact that we may come back down, in which case 7 or 8 of them could become good first team players for us. But we will do everything possible to stay up. We'll try our best to get people on new deals and keep people happy, but we know it's going to be a very difficult task. So it's a big summer ahead. Let me know what you think of the plans, and we'll see if it works out when we're back for the transfer special on Wednesday, and then we'll see how those signings work on Friday in our first ever Premier League game. The other thing I wanted to talk about quickly was morale. We always focus on a key little area off the pitch to talk about each year, and this season it has to be morale. So you can see how good it is. Of course, we've won the league, we've just spoken to the lads, we'd expect it to be good. But I've probably put more effort into morale and individual chats and team talks this year than I ever have in FM again. And the reason for that is because we've seen the effects of it. Morale is so important to good momentum. And more importantly, when we're not doing so well, we've seen this year in particular in FM, in both series in fact, what happens when we talk to players about their lack of goals or a little drought, they immediately score. And that's something we've tried to use as a positive, and I think we can argue that the results have been very good. So it's something that I would encourage throughout, is talking to players. Obviously there's the little exceptions with the training report. You can't praise the same player 2 or 3 weeks in a row. They get upset, they get annoyed about talking about the same thing. But even if you haven't spoken to someone for a month and their morale's starting to dip, just to go and praise their conduct, even if they've done nothing, it seems to have a positive influence. And to be honest, these lads are playing well, they're working hard, they're training okay. I should praise their conduct, and they deserve it. But in other series, it's something I may try again in the future to see if it's as effective. But with this group of lads, we may have just got lucky, but momentum has stuck and morale has been key to that. So talking to the lads has definitely worked out, and I'd encourage individual chats as much as possible. But before we go and move on to the end of season competition review, I'm sure some of you will have already shouted at me in the comments for the players that I'm planning to lose, for some of them I can't keep, or even for my transfer policy. Let's do our end of season player of the year vote. And to do that, we'll put these lads in appearance order and get rid of those that aren't at the club. So let's have a look at the superstars. Joe Thompson actually top, played in a lot of cup games and did really well. Aaron White, the other left winger just behind, he's had a remarkable season. And to be honest, looking there, you can see why the fans voted in player of the year. Up there we've got Stefan Moles, still playing well when he comes in. Of course takes some penalties, which does help him out. Cotleo, surprised us more than anyone else at this club. Came in as our backup striker. Brendan Lindsay became injury prone, and he became our 20 goal a season man. Brilliant performer and key to us getting promoted. Tordoff up there again, scored the goal that won us the title. We all remember that, and we've just got to get him down to a new deal. McLaughlin really improved this year. Jack Walker was a rock at the back again, and also that man Zach Council. So many crucial goals in the run-in, and it's going to be a desperately hard job to replace him. I'm actually struggling to pick 4 players for this year. I'm definitely going to put Aaron White in the vote. I'm definitely going to put Cotleo and Zach Council in there. And in fact, you know what? I'm not even going to put a 4th up there. I'm going to put those 3 and other. So if you want to vote for Tordoff, McLaughlin, Walker, James, Thomas, Baker, let me know down in the comments why you're going for them. We've got to mention the likes of Porteous as well. What a first season he's had. All contributing goals and assists. Brendan Lindsay scored a hat-trick to win us a game and a 90th minute winner on Boxing Day. They're all heroes. They've all done something special this season. Stropper in his first year at the club. I know goalkeeper ratings aren't great this year. Saved penalties to get us points. Made brilliant one-on-one saves. What a player he's been when he came over learning English this year. There's so many that deserve a mention. I might have even put Stropper in as my 4th choice, but it seems harsh with him having one of the worst ratings. So the 3 I put in the eye above and the other vote, let me know who is your player of the year. Click on the eye above, have your say, and if it's not one of the 3 I've picked, let me know in the comments who and why. We'll announce the vote result next season at the end of year review, where hopefully we'll still be a Premier League team. But there's plenty of suggestions this season, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw. You'll probably all have different opinions, so just let me know who you think it should be. But for this part of the episode, I think that's about it. We will skip ahead and stop back if we get any stadium news or development news off the pitch. But otherwise, we'll be back for our end of season competition review, where we have a look across the English and European pyramids. Well, we've not even made it a day into the future. We're back the same evening, the 15th of May. Apologies, I've accidentally clicked on the messages, but they are big ones. It is stadium news. It is what we were looking for. We've got youth facility upgrades coming as well. But the stadium plans have gone ahead a year early. Promotion to the Premier League has forced their hand. So let's have a look at the new stadium details. 14,287 capacity. 1 year to build it. That's impressive. 15 million's the cost. So Craig Maguire last summer basically paid for 2/3 of it. Undersoil heating and in Dorking, which is brilliant. A local stadium, great for the fans. It'll be the Mark White Arena, the original owner, the man who's taken them up through the leagues, the man we took over from at the club. What a fantastic achievement and what a big moment in this series. We're moving to QPR for the next season. Ground sharing because the People's Pension Stadium doesn't meet Premier League requirements. We said that might be the case. So we are ground sharing with QPR. Loftus Road, 18,224 is the capacity. A notoriously hard ground to get out of as an away fan, especially if you're sitting on the opposite side to the only exit. But otherwise, a good stadium, a good upgrade for us, and hopefully a lot of the home fans will come and travel to it. But it's only for one season, then we move back to Dorking, and we'll have our own little Premier League stadium. Brilliant news, a brilliant way to finish the Dorking part of this episode. Let's skip ahead to the end of season competition review. We're back 11th of June, the transfer window's just opened, and we're going to go through all the competitions, the English League Pyramid and the big cups in Europe as well. The one thing I do want to mention, not to get you too excited for the pre-season review, the transfer special on Wednesday. In addition to the 2 we'd already signed in May, we have got 6 more pre-agreed deals coming in, so a minimum of 8 signings this summer and plenty to go out as well. But in terms of the Premier League, it was won on goal difference by 1 goal. Liverpool the champions. Manchester United almost got their first. In how long is that? Their first since 2012-13 when Ferguson retired. They nearly had their first title. They were 1 goal away. But they were pipped to it by Liverpool. Everton and Villa making the Europa League places. Tottenham missing out. So starting to slide. Middlesbrough, Burnley and Brighton relegated. You can imagine a lot of our signings and scouting will be there next season. In terms of the second tier, the Championship, we all know what went on there. Dorking Wanderers champions, Reading promoted. The club we played in a January transfer episode. They got promoted in 4th place via the playoffs. Crystal Palace stay down again. Portsmouth, unfortunately Luton and Cardiff relegated again. They'll be back down to League One now. In League One, who's been promoted? Preston beat Wrexham in the playoff final. Barnsley and Wigan come up. Bradford, Rotherham, Notts County and Accrington Stanley down. No massive shocks perhaps. Wrexham being in the League One playoffs is great, but there's no massive shocks I wouldn't say there. In League 2, Plymouth win the playoffs against Bolton. Crawley, Oldham and Colchester up. Stevenage and Telford down. Again, no massive shocks. Chester keeping themselves up there as a Boston United. But both of them, whether it be the previous editions or the current club, have played in the Football League before. If we go down to the National League, are we going to get any bigger shocks? Ebbsfleet promoted alongside Fleetwood. Going down is Grimsby to the National League North. That's quite a big one for us. Maidenhead, Hendon and Borehamwood, the other 3 sides down. The National League North, let's have a look who's joining Grimsby in there next year. Not Kettering or Barrow, they've both gone up. Look how tight it was at the top there. 2 points separating the top 4. Kettering aside, of course, we managed first in the head coach this year. And they've got themselves up to the National League. 4 smaller sides going down, no shocks there again. And we'll wait to see if Macclesfield return next time round. In the south, Barnet promoted, as were Eastleigh as champions. And going down, Weymouth, Hampton and Richmond. Dartford, bit of a surprise maybe. And Hungerford. Staines came up, our Peter club last year, and they stayed up this year in 20th. By 1 place, but comfortably by 9 points. Just behind our FM19 side, Torquay United. So Staines going to be useful for us next year, hopefully helping out with some of our new youngsters. A really good season in England, no massive shocks I wouldn't say, but obviously the biggest one is us, going to the Premier League, so it doesn't matter what's happened elsewhere. If we look at the FA Cup, we got to the quarterfinals and Liverpool won it. They beat Chelsea in the final, the side who put us out of course, so no mean feat for us there. In the Carabao Cup, Arsenal, the side we went out to, lost in the final. Seems to be a trend. Manchester United starting to get back to the top here. The Community Shield, Liverpool beat Chelsea on penalties. The Leasing.com trophy, another under-23 side, though Wrexham in the final. Good to see them recovering now. In the FA Trophy finally, Halifax beat Solihull. Another big National League side getting their day out. Let's go and have a look over in Europe. That's the way we normally like to finish here. Liverpool the holders by the looks of things. Who did they play in the final then? That's 3 back-to-back. They beat Chelsea, an all-English final. 3 in a row for Liverpool in Europe. They won the Premier League too, of course, and they won it at Old Trafford. Oh, that's going to sting, especially after the finish to the league season. Chelsea with a sending off, which seemed to help, but another all-English final in that one. The Europa League, another all-English final. Manchester City beating Tottenham, and then what about the Europa League 2? Aberdeen, Scotland's back on the map again. Aberdeen beat Schalke in the final. How much must Scottish football have improved for Aberdeen to be beating Schalke? After a 3-year absence, a Scottish team wins it. Hearts have got 2, Aberdeen have got 2 in the last 10 years. I'm sure someone else won it before as well. No, they're the only ones, but 4 Scottish winners in 10 years. It's a pretty remarkable achievement indeed. So well done to them. Aberdeen back on top in terms of a European competition, and Scottish football is certainly back on the map. As that's the case, let's very quickly go and have a look at the Scottish Premiership. Rangers the holders. Wow, they've broken the dominance of 3 years from Celtic. Up there, Celtic second, Aberdeen third, Hearts in the bottom half, and Queen of the South relegated. So no massive shocks yet again, but in Scottish football, they seem to be performing well in Europe again. So that's a good sign for them at least. Things looking very good for Dorking Wanderers, and as you've seen, we've got big summer plans, both on and off the pitch. So let me know in the comments what you think of the transfer business I'm planning, the style I'm trying to go for, whether you think the business approach will work, or do I need to just go big for 3 or 4 top players. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll come back on Wednesday and find out what we've done. But in the meantime, if you did enjoy this video, please do put a thumbs up on it. I really do appreciate your support with these end of year reviews. I hope you enjoyed it again. A lot more to think about this summer with Premier League football coming. But what a moment it is for Dorking. It's the one we've been waiting for and building towards from the start. If you haven't already and you don't want to miss any of next season, please do subscribe and turn the notifications on below. You'll get alerts as all the new episodes release, including a transfer special on Wednesday and our Premier League debut on Friday. In the meantime, we've got more episodes from our head coach story, which is building towards a nice point as well in that one. We have no say in transfers, contracts or staffing over there and rely heavily on our director of football. So please do check that one out if you haven't already. There's a link to the latest season and the transfer special live stream in the eye above. There's also our 2 Sunday series which continued yesterday, my FM20 network career and my stadium review series, both featuring a co-host, both filling a void of no football at the moment. So please do come along and show your support if you can. I really do appreciate it. I'd love to get your feedback on the new content and hopefully we can continue to improve the channel. But thank you so much for following along for another season, a remarkable one in this long-term story, and hopefully next season can be even more special as we make our Premier League bow with Dorking Wanderers. Hopefully I'll see you there.